we're done masking this area, this room. So I'm going to start the sprayer and start with the first coat. So there's 2 coats of Timber Pro color, pine wood color, and a 3rd coat. The final coat is a clear flood coat. So 3 coats of this plant-based Timber Pro. So let's get started. I'll take off my mask once the mist is blown away. And I got a pretty good layer on this fascia. This is the fascia trim around the roof. And I brushed that. It's dripping off pretty good. So as it drips off, I brush it. Brush underneath it. I brush the face of it. And that's, you want to brush all that in nicely so it doesn't drip and run. The first coat I go heavy, as much as it can absorb, so a nice good coat that absorbs in. The second coat I got to back off a bit. It doesn't penetrate as much. It doesn't absorb as much because the first coat is in there. And then the 3rd coat of clear, I give it a pretty heavy coat. But I kind of back off and make sure it's penetrating. This is going in real well. This bottom has 1 coat on. I'm going to go up there and get the first coat on the gable ends. Over here we've got 2 coats on this, and you can't really tell the difference, but it does look nice. The post on the end and this post on this end both have 2 coats. The fascia and the sealing, all that came out really nice. It absorbed a lot of product. It's just perfect. And Dawson is up there masking this whole end. So we'll get to this part a little bit later today. And the decision has been made to stain on over top of the chinking because it's a real problem to mask it to keep the chinking white. But there's an option of painting over the stain, painting the chinking white later. And so far the customer doesn't want us to do that. So we'll just stain over it. And then maybe next year we'll get the garage. We'll see if he wants us to do that. So right now, focus on the house. We're back after the weekend off and masking the rest of the house here. I'm going to start because it's nice and warm now. Sun came out, beautiful staining weather. I can start in this area and get this all stained. And I've said this before, Meadowlark Log Homes did not build this house. Somebody else did, but we're going to replace 3 logs. The long one there, and a post. There's 3 rotten logs. So I'm going to stain this. Then a couple days from now, the Meadowlark crew is going to come and replace these logs for the customer because this roof had been short, or it was short up there, and the rain and snow would fall onto the logs and rotted them. So the customer built this kind of gable there to shed the water. So that was a design flaw. So we're going to replace those logs. But meanwhile, I'm going to get this area started staining, and we're going to continue masking around the house. And by tonight, we should have all of the house coated with the first coat of stain, and this backside is done. So here we go. Time to put some stain on. Joanne is doing the last of the masking right here, putting that plastic around those stones to protect them from the overspray. That's a nice big log right there. We got lamps covered there in the plastic. We got the windows covered, the rocks covered here. Everything masked real nicely. Now guys, what do you think? Do you think I should spray this birdhouse looking thing? So this looks like a birdhouse. What it is it's covering a pedestal that does like a some kind of a utility meter. I think it's like a electric meter. So they got that covered. So I masked this little electronic thing here, and then I'm going to go ahead and spray that. Give that a couple coats of stain so it matches the house. I don't know if I mentioned to you guys, because it's late in the year, it's October, we're really working against the weather that's coming in soon. I think we can get this house completely done in the next few days before a cold front moves in. The weather's perfect for staining. It's not too hot, it's not too cold in the mornings, it's 40 or above. Because of the time constraints, the customer decided to wait on the garage for another year. So maybe we'll do that another time for the customer. But for that right now, we're just doing the house and getting that nicely sealed for the winter. So I better get to work. We had a bit of rain for a couple days, so we had to go away, and the other man lift developed a leak. So I took it back and brought Meadowlark's own man lift back here. The only thing I got left to do on the bottom is the third coat of clear right in this bottom part. And then I got to go on top with the man lift and hand brush around all those windows on both sides because the masking's kind of difficult. So I'm going to just hand brush that. It's another fine morning here. Sun's out. We are masking the last 4 windows up there. We got the other side masked, and we're going to stain the gable on this end and the gable on the other end. That's the only thing left to stain. And my daughter Verena has been taking off and removing all the masking on the other sides of the house. Let's have a look and see what the boys have been doing on the log replacement. This has got 3 coats on all the bottom here, the posts, nice. 3 coats on all that. And John and Wayne have been replacing 3 rotten logs. This one, this post, and that log. And they put back the metal railings on this side. Over here we're going to do something different, but we replaced, or Meadowlark replaced those 3 logs for the customer. We've got to stain those. And all of the house is stained. Everything's got 3 coats on it, except for, like I said, the gable up on this end and on the other end. So we're going to mask that and get the stain on while it's nice and sunny. We just got to get that area right there done yet. I'm going to do a close-up on these logs that had the 3 coats of stain. I'm very pleased with how it penetrated. It's smooth. Looks really nice. We stained over the white chinking. I think it turned out great. It colored it tan. I think it's a good color. We soaked a lot of stain into this post. It was very dry. The fascia got a lot of stain. I'm very pleased with the product so far with all of the stain we did. It's got just a little bit of a shine to it with the third and clear coat on top, nice and smooth. I'm hoping when the customer sees it, he'll give me a rave review on it. So all that's got the 3 coats. On the first coat, I go as heavy as I can because it really drinks it in. The second coat, I lighten it up about 50–60% as much, kind of just the right amount, so it still penetrates in nicely, but not too much. Then the third coat, I go fairly heavy, also kind of depending on how much it can drink in. I give it whatever it can absorb without building too much of a coating on top. So that's the idea. All right, I'm gonna put a time lapse on and we're going to mask the windows. Now I know that's super boring to watch us mask those windows up there, but that's why I'm gonna put a time lapse on so it goes fast for you. It's looking mighty fine. The boys are finished with the log install. Way to go, Wayne. Nice.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, they got those logs fitted really nice. Really nice in there. Yesterday, the Meadowlark boys replaced that log, the horizontal log by the ladder, the vertical post, and the horizontal log over here. I'm going to apply borate. It's a solution of borate powder called Penetrate. I mix it in water. I brush it over top of those logs to help preserve water from hitting it, preserving it from decay. I'll point out that Meadowlark Log Homes did not build this house. Somebody else did. I don't know who it was, but it has short overhangs. Notice the overhang and the eaves are, well, the eaves are long, but the overhangs are quite short. We always have 4-foot overhangs, which would protect this log. But the water would hit the logs, it rotted those out, so we replaced them. So this is the product called Penetrate that Meadowlark Log Homes carries, and I'll show you. It's a white powder. It's just a white powder of borate. It's safe for mammals, but it's poisonous for insects, and it prevents from rot. I've got a little water in this pail, so I'm going to put a cup of this powder into about 1.5 gallons of water. I'm going to mix that around with the drill mixer, and then brush that onto the logs. This morning we're wrapping this up. We're putting the final and third coat on the top by the glass. So I put a thick coat of clear on that. Everything else has got the third coat on it. That's the last to go. And then we're done with the stain. And then we've got to spend a day or so taking all of the blue masking off, all the masking off the windows, and cleaning everything up. So when it's done, hopefully I'll get a video of everything finished. But we beat the weather just in time. So I'm real happy with it. And let's get this last and third coat on the top of the gables there. For the third and final coat, we use the same product, Timber Pro, with no color, just clear. And this bug juice, we pour the bug juice into a 5-gallon pail of the clear stain for the final coat, and it kills insects. You pour the whole bottle in there, and then we need to stir that around. And the flies, spiders, stink bugs, any kind of insects that land on the log stained surface will die. Bug juice. You can put this into paint and stain for the final coat. You got to take my drill and the paddle and stir it really well. Now it's mixed, and I'm going to pour this into that pail and get my time lapse started. Put my face mask on, go up there and stain that. We are removing the blue tape from all around the building, like the trim. That's the blue masking. This is the final video of this project that we stained this non-Meadowlark log home. It's the very last video I'll do of it. We're completely done, and it just started snowing. We came back this morning to pull the last pieces of blue tape off. We power washed the deck off, put this furniture back in place. The grill, we had moved all of the items away from the house out here. So we moved everything back on. We power washed this rock patio. We got this man lift ready to load on the truck. It's going to be going out of here with my semi. I just want to get the video before we do that. I'm going to take a walk around this final video of the house that's completely done with the 3 coats of Timber Pro. And yesterday the weather was actually sunny, and we're taking all the masking off, cleaning up. And this is our first snow of the year. It's the last day of October. And we got done, with the stain last week. And the weather was perfect. It was sunny, and it was warm in the afternoons. There's a snowflake on my camera. And as of right now, we're completely done. And I want to talk about the stain one more time. This is Timber Pro, 2 coats color, 1 coat clear. And my reasons for using it, I want to also tell you that we offer other brands, like Meadowlark Log Homes uses transformation, capture, and a few other options for you. But whenever I do a house, I really try to convince or encourage the customer to stick with the Timber Pro, which is what I prefer using. The Timber Pro is my favorite because of a number of reasons. It is plant-based, it's not petroleum-based, and some of the benefits versus this plant-based versus a petroleum-based product, and I'll kind of go through some of the highlights real quick so you guys can know. It is, first, it's safe for when you spray it. It's not toxic, and I still mask up, but it's not nearly like those other toxic oil-based, even water-based paints have toxins in them. This is very safe, and so it won't kill your rose bushes, your grass. It won't even damage the grass or your animals if they breathe it in. So it's very safe. It dries quickly, so we can do, 3 coats in 3 days kind of thing, because 1 coat dries, and next day you do the 2nd coat, and the 3rd coat, so on. So the finish is nice and silky, smooth. I just love how it penetrates. So here are the benefits. It penetrates into the wood, and then we spray it on, then we brush afterwards. The other thing is it's elastic. Like the finish is a penetrant. It penetrates in, and you don't really want a coating, but whatever is on here is flexible. Like with hot and cold, it'll kind of, the coating or the finish will flex with the weather, with the temperature, and the logs that might do a little expansion and so on. So it's flexible. It doesn't crack. It doesn't peel. It lasts as long or longer than anything I've ever used. It just lasts a long time. And that varies, of course. If it's in the sunny side, it doesn't last as long, but I've got good results of this product lasting a long time. The colors are great. There's a lot of colors available. The other benefits of it are simply, it's plant-based, so the finishes, even though it's flexible, it's hard. It's like a shellac, like a hard surface. The dust from the air, the pollen from the air, doesn't go into the stain. Anything that's oil-based or even water-based, the pollen and dust of the air will go into the stain. That's why a lot of log homes look dirty. Have you ever noticed cedar homes and log homes, they look dirty? That's because they are. If you took a microscope and looked at the traditional stains, they're full of dirt. And when we washed this place off with the pressure washer from the old stain that was on here, it was old. It was 20 years old or so. So we washed off. Rivers of muddy water came off. And that wasn't just the stain coming off the finish of the logs. We had mud running off these, we'd power wash those shingles, power wash this area, and they would run off the roof in a muddy little torrent. That was dirt. That was mud. That was just deep in that stain and in the logs, because the sticky petroleum-based finish attracts dirt to go into the sticky finish. And so it'll become dirty, I guarantee. So this is the old finish of the garage, which we're going to do next year. The customer just notified me he wants this done in the spring, the garage. Well, when we wash that next spring, it will be mud, will be running off everywhere, just mud. That house is saturated with dirt. The other thing that's really funny, it's counterintuitive, but insects detest Timber Pro. They do not like it. I have never known an insect to bore through Timber Pro. They actually detest the taste. It's plant-based, 100% plant-based, but when they get to it, they don't bore into it because it tastes so bad for them. Insect, it's just not tasty. They hate it. They will bore into petroleum-based finishes. They'll go through a lot of them. It's not the same thing. And it also is very water repellent. You spray water on this house, it just repels it. It's water repellent, which is what you want in a log house. You want snow and water to sit on here. They want it to roll off like water off a duck's back. So this whole entire house is just one great big water repellent, finish now. And we put a lot of stain on here. I think we used something like 11 5-gallon pails on this house. I lost track because I threw some of the pails away, but there was a lot of pails. I mean, it soaked in a large amount of stain. There's a house in Massachusetts that I did. It was 3 years old, never been stained. I have a video of that house. It was a Meadowlark log home, and we used 27 pails of stain. 27. But it was, there was no finish on it. It was 3 years old, and it was so dry, drank in the wood, the stain. Anyhow, I'm very pleased with the product here. I think the customers, when they come down from Calgary to see this house, they're from Canada, but this is on Ashley Lake, Montana, and they're gonna be very pleased. I think it's fantastic. I just love you know, the feel of it, and the idea that we got this protected. I told the customer everything to me is in very fine shape, but if you had a Meadowlark log home, that roof extension would be at least 4 feet. That's, you know, less than 2 feet there. There's not enough protection from snow and rain on that area. So a Meadowlark log home, if you buy a Meadowlark log home, it'll always have at least 4 feet, and you can go 6 or 7 or 8, you know, long 6, 7 feet out to get a lot of protection. We have long overhangs, and the eaves are long. They're longer than this. This is kind of a short, looks like about 20 inches. Like we go 30 inches minimum on your eave length, or even 3 feet. So you get more watershed away from the, you want to protect these logs. So that's an issue. I'm not going to say this house has issues because it's a nice house. It's okay. It's just that if you have a Meadowlark log home, you have long overhangs. So right where the metal hits the wood is vulnerable. So we put a lot of stain on all those areas there. Now we're going to caulk with a nice thick concealed caulking all along that edge, all along that roof line, to protect water from going in through, because there's leakage inside the house. It rained one time. No, we were pressure washing, and the water came in one area and went on their kitchen table. So there's a hole, like it's not sealed. So we're going to seal all that so the water doesn't get in there. So anyhow, that's the benefit of a Meadowlark log home. You just get larger overhangs, which is the #1 protection for what you want, like longer overhangs here. This is pretty short. But again, I want to make sure that the customer knows this house is great. It's not compromised. We just have to do some extra chinking and making sure nothing leaks and everything's sealed. But so far right now, it's sealed really good. It will last for generations. It'll last for many lifetimes. It's a good feeling. It's a heritage house. We even got this birdhouse stained with 3 coats. It's a little utility cover for something in there. I don't think they're going to have to restain this house for many, many years. It's going to be a long time before they need to do anything with it. Folks, I really appreciate you guys watching this far along in the video. If you want your house stained, whether it's a Meadowlark log home or a non-Meadowlark log home, don't be afraid to get a hold of us and see if we can travel to your site and do this. I went to Massachusetts to stain the house, and we were competitive. I don't know if we can be competitive with your project or not, but we do stain a lot of log homes. I do personally, since I'm out of the company now. My son took the company over January of 2024, and so I am more available to do some stain jobs, and we would appreciate the chance to bid it and see if it would be work out for you to stain your home. So that's kind of my spiel. I prefer the Timber Pro for reasons that I stated. God bless everyone. Thanks for subscribing, watching, and we'll see you in the next video.